Good day, fellow Neverwinter players. If you find any of the information presented in this video useful, or if you have any critiques of information shared here, please hit me up on Twitch. That's www.twitch.tv/lord_willow_. In today's video, I am going to present two alternative builds for the Ranger. Now, please keep in mind, before we get too far, these builds will not be as good in group play. They cannot compete with a melee DPS. Uh, they can't compete with melee DPS solo, but they are both perfectly viable builds for running solo play. In fact, I've done many a master expedition by myself running both of these builds. They bring a fun alternative to gameplay, and I suggest that you kind of try them out for yourself just for a change of pace. So, also, what I'm not going to cover today, I'm not going to cover gear or attributes, skills. I'm not going to cover boons or companions or mounts. You can see any of my other videos for that information and kind of figure some of that out for yourself. Today, I'm just going to talk about powers, uh, class features and feats, and then maybe show like some, you know, slow, play-by-play gameplay of each of these builds. Okay, so I'm actually going to start off with my Warden ranged AoE. So in this build, you're going to stay ranged 100% of the time. You are not going to ever switch to your melee stance. So for this, my go-to at will is Electric Shot. I use Electric Shot for almost everything. If you get down to one target left, and let's say you're out of encounter powers, then you're going to switch over to Rapid Shot. From an encounter powers perspective, you're going to lead off with Split the Sky. So you're going to drop Split the Sky, and then you may do 3 electric shots. So now you're going to, because of you know some of the stuff's going on here, one of your feats, you're going to be boosting your Split the Sky damage. And then you're going to use Cordon of Arrows and Rain of Arrows. From a class feature perspective, you're going to use Seeker's Vengeance and Twin Blade Storm. So the key with Split the Sky and Rain of Arrows is you want to place the center of that behind the enemy you're targeting, and you're going to get that buff from Seeker's Vengeance. From a feat perspective, you're going to run Focused. So again, you're going to stay in that range stance. You're not going to move out of that range stance. And then Storm's Recovery. So this is about reducing, your encounter cooldowns while you're running your encounters. So you use ranged encounter, you reduce the other ranged encounter cooldowns. I use Storm Conduit here. Obviously, I'm not doing anything melee, so I'm just going to, again, leverage Electric Shot, increase the damage of my other lightning-based attacks by 10%. I go with Skirmisher's Gambit, again, bump my crit severity by 30%. And then my go-to daily is going to be Call the Storm, and so I'm going to run Enhanced Conductivity. So to kind of show a little bit of gameplay, again, Split the Sky. I generally drop Cordon, and then Rain of Arrows. I do some electric shots. Drop that. My Split the Sky's back up again already. And I don't have Flurry, so you can kind of take your time, right? The other build that I wanted to show today is a hunter build, right? So now we're going with the Hunter Paragon path. This one's a little different. This one's all about applying roots. So this one is actually a lot of fun. It is a stance switching build. So my go-to at will is going to be Rapid Shot. And I do use Hunter's Teamwork. It hits pretty good. It's got a decent cast time. It's not too bad. I stay away from Aim Shot. Rapid Shot actually does it does slightly more damage than Aim Shot over the same period of time. I'm really not impressed with Aim Shot at this point in time. There are better options than Aim Shot, so I don't use it. If I were to switch to the melee stance, maybe I'd use Aim Shot for Aim Strike to apply that bleed. So that would be a scenario where I may slot aim strike or aim shot, but I'm not slotting it to use aim shot. I'm slotting it to use aim strike. And then from an encounters perspective, it's all about applying roots. So I'm using hindering shot, so I got hindering strike. That's applying strong grasping roots. I'm using constricting arrow because that applies strong grasping roots. And then I do use rapid volley. By itself, it doesn't hit very hard, but you get 5 charges with rapid volley. It's actually pretty useful. And then from a daily perspective, I use disruptive shot as kind of my go-to daily. Though I do occasionally use Slasher's Mark. You can see that I have Snipe slotted in there right now, but very often I'll just have Slasher's Mark. Slasher's Mark hits almost as hard as Snipe, but it's much more reliable, and especially with the stance switching build, you're going to be doing a lot of shifting in and out. Having that extra stamina that's gained from that Slasher's Mark is really useful. From a class feature perspective, I'm using Crushing Roots. So again, this is kind of about a little bit of control on the enemy, as well as Aspect of Serpent. So I'm in a stance switching build. I'm switching stances all the time, and that's kind of how you want to run your rotation. From a feat perspective, I'm using Rate of Change. So you gain a 5% damage boost when switching stances. Granted, that is reduced by 1% per second and refreshes to full on your next stance change. I'm also using Thorn Roots. So my strong grasping roots are upgraded to Thorn Roots. Thorn Roots deal 50 magnitude damage every second. When you're hitting a control immune target, you just deal an additional 100 magnitude damage. It's a pretty nice little damage over time. You apply strong grasping roots, you can walk away, and a lot of enemies will take a lot of damage. And then I'm using Biting Snares. I've played around with this one between Prey and Predator and Biting Snares, and for solo runs, I prefer Biting Snares. Again, uh, when you apply your Grasping Roots or Thorn Roots, you gain Biting Snares. Biting Snares causes your next stance shift to grant you 10% of your AP. So a lot of AP gain this way. And then I run Forest Bound. So when I apply Grasping Roots, I reduce the cooldown of my currently recharging powers by 5%, and then I'm running beyond more than Disruptive. So again, my go-to daily is Disruptive Shot, so I'm increasing my damage. So if you can see this from a rotation perspective, let's say I start here. Actually, what I would normally do is I would apply Hindering first. You can see that you can use that. And really what you want to do is you want to do a lot of stance switching, right? So you can see all my stuff's on cooldown right now. Right? So I'm trying to maximize my stance switches. Not a smooth rotation there at all on the target dummies. But it kind of gives you an idea. So again, you want to stance switch a lot. So you can see that on the buff bar, you got the stance switch popping up on the buff bar down there. Right down here. Rate of change. That's all I have for today. Again, if you found any of this information useful, or if you had a critique of the information shared here, please hit me up on Twitch. That's www.twitch.tv/Lord_Willow_. And thank you so much for your time.